I bought my first Rolex, and it's the most basic reference you can get, which is the reason I bought it and the reason I love it. This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36, reference 116000. Everyone knows Rolex, so I'm not going to get into the history of this Swiss behemoth of the watch industry, whose iconic crown adorns the sidelines of prestigious sporting events like F1, Wimbledon, and others. Rolex's market share is remarkable, at over 30%. It's crazy to think that Omega, Breitling, Patek, and IWC together don't make up as much market share as Rolex. One key feature of Rolex as a brand is that it rarely makes significant changes to its storied models, so its limited range of offerings have become simply iconic over time. While instantly recognizable, Rolex's ubiquity, in my opinion, is also a negative. Often when I look at Rolex models, I just feel like I have seen them so many times, they don't feel exciting or fresh to me. Also, going on Chrono24 and seeing tens of thousands of Datejusts or Submariners listed doesn't make you feel like you're acquiring a rare and exclusive product. But having never owned a Rolex, I felt like I couldn't judge the watches until I've had first-hand experience. Unfortunately, due to the Rolex market tomfoolery and my unwillingness to go along with the AD process, I had to go to the secondary market. I bought my watch through a dealer with great reviews on Chrono24, and it came complete with box and papers and also an appraisal. Beyond just wanting to try out a Rolex, when I reviewed my watch collection, I realized it consisted of low-end beater watches and also vintage or neo-vintage watches that I didn't want to be my daily drivers. So what I wanted from this watch was a modern workhorse that was super high quality, good looking, but definitely something that can be worn as my daily go-to, with my other watches being ones that I could break out of the box when I really wanted to wear them. So why the OP? I didn't want a sporty model like the Submariner, Daytona GMT, or Explorer 2, as I wanted this to be something I could wear on any occasion. So looking more to the Datejust, Explorer 1, and the OP, the Explorer 1 is a bit more sporty and is really common, so while I would like to own one, it wasn't something I wanted as a daily wearer. The Datejust is a great option that has numerous models and variations, with Oyster or Jubilee bracelet, smooth or fluted bezel, different colors or designs on the dial, different hour markers. It's a great option, no doubt. However, I wanted this watch to be low-key and something that flies under the radar. The Datejust, with its polished center links and lugs, is just a touch flashy for what I was envisioning. So in my head, that pretty much left only one model, the Oyster Perpetual. As a time-only watch with casual design, I didn't want a 41, although it sounds like the 41 is actually more like a 39. And 39 is a good size for me, but I wanted this watch to be stealthy and really uneventful. I also love the more traditional sizes of vintage watches, so I knew that 36 would be a perfect choice. But which 36 to choose? The newer 36mm reference 126000 measures closer to 35mm like the Explorer 1, where this older reference 116000 measures about 37mm in diameter, which is the perfect size for me for this style of watch. The dimensions of this OP are 37mm in diameter, 11.9mm thin, and 44mm from lug to lug, with the inclusion of the end links taking it to 45.5mm. The case is Rolex's 904L stainless steel, also known as oyster steel. The watch has the typical Rolex oyster shape, with curvy polished case sides and starkly turned down lugs. A polished rounded bezel encircles the dial and holds a sapphire crystal that rises generously above the bezel, giving it a bit of a vintage vibe. The top of the case is fully brushed, keeping the flash to a minimum, and a signed screw-down crown sits at the 3 o'clock, which helps this watch to have 100 meters of water resistance. The Riha is engraved with the Rolex name, and the laser-etched coronet is present at the 6 o'clock. This is a great size and shape for a time-only watch that's intended to be an anti-statement piece, and it fits really well on my 17cm wrist. The dial on this particular model is a fantastic, elegant blue sunburst that changes from a light cerulean to a deep ocean blue depending on the light and angle. 369 Arabic numeral hour markers, reminiscent of the Explorer 1, sit at their respective posts. The Rolex coronet keeps watch at the 12 o'clock, and stick hour markers round out the dial. The watch has baton, hour, and minute hands with a thin seconds hand, and the hour markers and hands are all white gold to help prevent corrosion, and are all filled with lume that lasts for hours when fully charged. Standard Rolex text in 4 lines at the 6 and 12, with Swiss made tucked at the bottom, give way to good dial real estate to fully view and appreciate this stunning sunburst dial. The 3-link oyster bracelet is fully brushed with polished sides and tapers elegantly from 20mm at the lugs down to about 15.5mm at the clasp. The deployant clasp has an articulating end that secures into place with a hook. and there's a recessed coronet on the clasp. The bracelet has screws to add or remove links, and there are 3 micro adjustment points you can set using a spring bar tool, but there's no quick adjust on this model. The movement on this reference is the older 3130 with 48 hours of power reserve and beats at 28,800 beats per hour. This is a COSC certified chronometer that Rolex has engineered to be a superlative chronometer, which is -2 to +2 seconds per day. It has hacking seconds and really smooth action on the crown movements. My watch is running consistently about 2 seconds fast per day, so after 1 month it'll be about 1 minute off, which is fantastic. I've been wearing this watch a lot since I bought it, and I really enjoy it. I envision my collection having about 2 to 3 daily pieces that form the foundation and are workhorses of high quality, and around that will orbit a cadre of more delicate novelties or specific tools that I would wear less frequently, whether vintage watches or just quirky pieces whose novelty I don't want to wear out by using it daily. This watch fits and performs perfectly the function for which it was designed, and it never seems out of place. I don't have to worry that I'm wearing something too flashy running to the grocery store, or not appropriate for stepping out to a high-end restaurant. And between the elegant brushing and the white gold markers and hands, there's just enough pop to give it the right amount of wrist presence. So in the end, I'm super happy with this watch purchase, and I expect a couple more Rolexes may enter the watch box in the near future.